Good morning, sunshine. It's Friday. I love Freemotion Fridays because I get to just play. It's awesome. Some of my favorite times. So if you're out there and you can hear well and you can see the screen and the lighting looks good, go ahead and let me know. I'll just give a minute for people to log in and I'll say hi. Hi, Barb Olson. Hi, Susie Simser. Welcome, you guys. So today we're going to play with the curl. And a curl to me is a little different than a swirl, and we're going to show that. So right here, you can see this is what we're going to be anchoring our designs with today, is this shape. And so let's go ahead and define the shape really quickly. So this is the C, right? And if you look at it, these are kind of level with a C. You're sort of cutting them off and both edges will be level. All right, and then if you swirl, you're tucking this way in and maybe you're traveling out, or maybe when you do a swirl, you're tucking it in and you're coming out in the space. So those to me are both a swirl. So the curl means that I'm going to tuck it in a little bit, and that's it. So right there is a little half circle, and then this is the other right here. So this half circle and that. And so the curl doesn't go much beyond that. By the time you start crossing that, that gets into that whole swirl thing. So this is just 1 and 2. And you don't have to be super rigid in your definition. If you go a little over the line, who cares, right? We're not about perfection, but I do think that this shape has a much different look than that shape. And so when we build this design, we're really anchoring it with this shape right here. So as you go, and the first design that I want to show you is if we have a line or a curve, either one. If you have trouble with spacing, you could mark it off, little squares, to help you get that visual repetition. And what you're going to do is you're going to just put your curl in there, and you're going to come out and go to the next one. Oh, it's so bumpy right there. Let's see if I can adjust my camera a little. There we go. So I can come a little where it's not quite so bumpy, right? So curl, curl, and you can make them touch, but if you're trying to space them, you're going to have to travel up to the next space. This is really a cute little wave design to put on something. Okay, so if you need that visual spacing, train yourself with a space. That's what helps you get that repetition of motion. So you can also do it where you are just coming out of this one right here and going right into the next one. And I'll be showing this one today. The reason I like this one is it kind of looks like beading to me. So it's a great separation between designs, and it's really fancy. But these would essentially be following this arc right here and coming right into your next curl, following this arc all the way out to here and your next one. So these ones are going to kiss, and these ones will have a little bit more openness in there. So those are two different looks for you that you can use however you like. And then what we'll do here is we'll also add a little bit of how you can put them maybe in a feather or a border. So we've done some feathers before. These will be a little bit more leafy in keeping with sort of an autumn festival theme. All right. So I have some spaces that I set up, and I've got a rainbow thread today. We always like to highlight our threads, right? Because they're so awesome. So the threads that I'm using today are Fantastico, is this amazing rainbow color, and it's also a green on the back. So this is the green, and these are both Fantastico by Superior Threads. They're both 40 weight polyesters, and they're 3-ply threads. So they're heavy, they're going to show, they're fabulous, they're designed for making sure that you can see everything that we're doing. So you know that I always, when we get to this point, I'm like, oh dear God, please make it work out, right? Do you ever have that on your quilt? You're like, oh God, please let it work. Let it do what I want. So we'll put the little beaded idea in here. And so here we go. I'm going to tack it off. And we'll come up and we'll do our little curl. So it looks like my tension's a little high, so I'm going to shift it down a little. I can see my green thread right there coming up. So no rush, curl it, curl. Try to come back right on your same stitch line. Just relax. It's okay if it doesn't. It's gonna work out. I think here when we rush it, that's when we try to, we start getting wonky when we rush it. So don't rush it, it's okay. Just let it go nice and easy. And the key right here is if you come in this shape right here, come back at least to there before you rest. Okay, like if you need to stop and reposition your hands, let me just show you this area. I'm going to circle it. Right when we're doing a curl, this part right there where you travel back right there, don't stop there and then try to travel back. Do this double stitch and then you can rest right there in the middle. Because right there, your brain can hold on to this shape for just a few seconds. And then this one, you're just starting over. There's no overstitching, but right there, you can hold on to that for just a few seconds to get yourself right back to that. And then that's where you rest. You don't want to be, stopping in the middle. So like right here, don't stop there, go back to there. And then you can be like, oh, okay, resting. So curl back. And notice that I'm not making these touch right here. If I make them touch, that's something else. And I can tuck them in a little more, but that's all about, that regularity. I think it looks really cute. I'm not too worried about if it's perfect. Nice and easy. And if you did these really tiny, I think that would look so cool. That'd be like a bead. So here I'll just tuck it in a little bit because I'm on the end. What do you think? Don't you think that looks really cute? Got some wonky ones down at the bottom, but you know what? Here's my motto, right? Wonky is good. Just stitch a million more stitches and nobody will ever see it because then all they'll see is just the basic body of the design. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll just come down this side since we can. We're going to try to make this sort of in the middle and we'll put the other feather on this side. So we'll just use our straight edge and we'll come down the side. So I'm going to float just a little bit because I don't really want to cut the design right there, but I think it's going to touch some of them. So I'm just visually giving myself that 1/4 inch. So if you're not familiar with ruler quilting, my foot that's on my machine is a ruler foot. I do love that. I prefer not to have to change my feet, right? So now I've got this line and we'll put the feathers out here. So with the curl, the first one, just curl it and come back to the top. So basically what we've done, the shape right now, let me get my pen back out. I'll show you what we're doing right here. We've done the curl and we've just come back up to the top, essentially to the half circle right there. And it's okay if you come back wide, that'll be fine too. If you can't track back, just deliberately come over the top. And now we're just going to put a little shallow C and we'll arc back to there, right? And then this will bring us up another C and we'll arc and put that in. And then what we'll do is we'll put a couple of them where we'll have the C shape come over the top The curl will just come over the top a few times. And then if you can track back, great. If you can't, just widen it and make it its own little thing like that. If you can't connect these smoothly in your practice, if you feel like this is a little jerky in here between these connections, when you come here, just come over the top all the way back. And then we'll just put another leaf in, okay? So that's kind of what we're looking to do, and we'll be doing that with this as the spine right there. So shallow C, coming back. Let's see, is that the best? I think that is the best view for you guys. It's a little challenging for me, but that's okay. So coming back a little bit, put another one in, maybe another one. And I can wiggle it if I want to. I don't have to make it too straight. Curl, arc, and then now we'll show you a little different one just for some variety. I'm going to follow this arc a little bit away, and then I'm going to put a little pointy shape, and I'll put a leaf in there. And then we'll come up. Put our curl in there, and then arc, and come back. So what I like about varying this up is you can do whatever you need to do. I can even put a curl in this way if I wanted to, and then I'm done. So there, what do you think? Does that look fun? Yeah, it is hard to get them smoother. I will tell you that I had this friend that did this really cool design that was basically all of this, and then you would just change directions with it and make it like a fill. And I loved it, and I couldn't do it at all. I loved it. So I printed out a picture of it, and I traced the picture a billion times. So if you can find this, or if you can find a line like that where you have, you know, even if you have circles in a line like this, you can print that out and you can trace over that, and then that will give you the shape. So then if you had circles, let me show you real quick. Let's say we have circles over here. My circles may be wonky, you know that. It's okay, they're good enough. Like if you printed something where you had a line like this, you can still use that to practice, right? So curl, and then curl, curl, and that can help you get that regularity, right? Because that's what you're looking for. You just have to practice it a bunch of times. And the thing is, if you have a ruler, I absolutely recommend using a ruler, because here's what I learned. Okay, this is a small shape, right? This is going to be a 1-inch circle if you put the ruler foot inside. It's going to sew inside a little bit, right? And if you sew this a bunch of times, this is going to give you the feel of the movement of a perfect circle. So I've probably sewn this particular shape probably about 5,000 times. By the time you've done it 10 times, your brain is like, oh, that's kind of important. She's doing that thing again. And then by the time you've done it 100 times, your brain is like really perked up and is like, okay, yeah, I remember this. This seems like we need that. It's important. By the time you've done it 1,000 times, you can close your eyes and do it. So, you know, I know that everybody says practice, but I think perfect practice makes you better. I think if you have a shape that you can follow, that is the training. Because if I just do it by hand, I know my circles are kind of wonky originally, but the more that I have done it, now when I sew, they look much better. It is muscle memory, but again, we want to train the muscle perfectly. When we're kids and we're swimming, The coach doesn't say just go in the water and practice more. He says practice better. Move your hand this way, move your arm this way, fix that, make that stronger. So it's important that we don't just practice, but that we practice better. And that will help you have a better design overall. So let me show you then. We'll just travel over here and we'll kind of do this. Oh, my bobbin thread's talking to me. Well, we'll just sew until we run out. How about that? Yes, I'm freehanding this circle. Would I prefer a ruler? Yes, I would. But that's okay. All right, so we'll use this inner one as our spine, right? So we've got to get down to there. And here we'll go. So we'll have to make our curls just a little bit bigger because this space is a little bigger, right? So that's our boundary. And we'll come in. Now our curl has to travel a little bit here. Right here, it's got to move us around. So we've got to make, some stretches along this curve sometimes. Oh, I stopped in the wrong place. Did you guys see that? I was talking. All right, well, let's see. We'll track back slowly, get ourselves around. Stretch that one out. And here we'll do those little double. Come back, come up to the next one, and fill in that space. And here we'll just sort of gently track it back. So here we didn't go right on this line because this one kind of comes in and out. So you can just open that up. You can even make that even wider if you want to. And then rather than have another curl right exactly there, I'll go ahead and I'll put the leaf in there. And we'll come back. That'll prevent too many curvies from being right together. And then we'll put our funky leaf in, which will follow the curve. And then we'll put a little swirl in there. And we'll put our little curl in there. And we'll fill that space. All right. So there we go. There's some fun stuff. And then I made this little space right here so we could put the little beading in there. So let me show you what I want to do with this. I don't want to fill up all of this. I want a little breathing space. So I'm just going to put the curl in the middle, but I won't make it touch, right? I don't want it to come all the way. I want it to be in the middle here so that if this is the spine and I'm going to stitch it, then I have a little breathing room. So I'll show you, we'll make it like that little beading thing. Oh, my bobbin is definitely unhappy. So make it little. Use your center line. So the foot is almost the full size of this. And what I think that would do is, I think this would be so great as sort of a beaded flourish that would be in the middle. If you were doing feathers and you were separating them, or if you had an arc and you wanted to put a little channel of this beading kind of a thing, I think this looks really regal. It's really, really fancy. And if you needed to make it wider, once you put the center part in, you could also then just echo around it. So like if this was in a bigger space, I would still maybe put a little bead like this about this size of the foot, and then you could echo it a 1/4 inch away, which would then emphasize it even more. So that's what we have for today, and hopefully you can use that. It's great for straight, it's great for curves, it can work in pretty much any area, Anytime that you need a little spacer on your feathers, you can always put this in. Like if you're going around a curve and the curve is really deep, you can put a couple of these in just to fill those little dips, and then your feather doesn't have to travel so deep. So that'll kind of get you out of the ditch right there too, if you want to use that for feathers. Such a great little thing, and I really like it. If you can work on tracking right back on it, it is a different look if it's open. So I'll just do one over here to show you the difference. We'll do, so if I did one right here where I track right back, and then we'll do another one where we don't. Okay, very, very different to me, very different look. Neither is bad, but definitely a different look. So if you can work on tracking back on it, that is definitely going to make this design that's more of like a wrought iron kind of a style. Okay. Alrighty, you guys. Well, that is our lesson for today. I did a little better. It's only 20 minutes. But, you know, have fun with it. Play with your threads. Always a reminder, make sure that your needle size matches your top thread size. So today I'm using matching weights in the bobbin and in the top. So let's see, I'll go ahead. I always like to show you everything, right? So let's pull it off and I'll show you the back. Woohoo, still looks good. You know, I always pray that my tension's good. I did test it, but just in case. So here, I'll put it like that so you could see a little better. But, you know, these are wonky. You know, see how regular these are? And I think these are beautiful. Don't get me wrong. But I love that we can mix this irregularity. And I even love these against each other because, you know, this one shows that little like creative, flourishy, you know, do whatever you want kind of mentality. And paired up next to this, I think it softens all the regularity of this. And, oh, here I even got one more. Okay, last one. I'll stop talking. If you have something like this, curls can be really good as a fill like this, right? If you just need something because that's a little too regular, I think that would look so awesome. And you wouldn't even have to do it in every one. Like you could skip like this. So just put it in every other one. And then that would be really fun as well. So have fun with it. Totally have fun with it. I will see you guys hopefully on Sunday. If you're part of the Ruler Work crew, I'll be on Sew Steady's Facebook page at 3 o'clock Mountain Time. And I would love to be able to tell you what I'm doing. I have a brand new box of stuff that I haven't opened. So I'm going to be going through it right now and figuring out what I'll be doing on Sunday. So we'll see you there. Have a great time. Happy quilting, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you, Susan Tapp. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Hope everybody did. Oh, Di Werner, I'll answer your question. So I prefer a 90-14 top stitch or quilting needle with this 40 weight thread. I almost always use a 90-14 top stitch needle when I'm using a 40 weight poly 3-ply. It seems to work best for me, and that's usually what I use for those types of threads. So that's Isacord, Fantastico, Magnifico, Floriani, Exquisite poly thread, Madeira 40 weight poly. I tend to use that same size needle for almost all of those threads, unless the thread is misbehaving, and then maybe I'll go up or something like that. And this is just a single batted right here. This is the 80/20 poly, no name brand. It's just a, you know, something that I'm using for my classes that is pretty inexpensive, but it's nice and has a nice texture. It's not too thin. You can't really like see through it per se or anything like that, but it's not really thick and it has a nice texture. So it quilts up pretty nice. Okay, hopefully that's all the questions. Have a great day, you guys. Bye-bye.